From Tucson to the Grand Canyon, we are going to give you a tour of the Kaibab Trail up Bright Angel in a day. Hey, Tyler Ford here, Tucson, Arizona with eXp Realty, and welcome to this episode of Living in Tucson, your Tucson real estate connection. And I am in the Grand Canyon, and every year it's been an annual thing for us where we come and do the Grand Canyon. We do different variations, different times of the year, but it's become a big part of our life, and we're going to take you on a tour of the Grand Canyon. So we're at Backcountry Hikers Express. We're here first thing. We're going to get the first shuttle out. It's going to take us to South Kaibab Trail. And we're doing South Kaibab Trail through Phantom Ranch and then up the Bright Angel Trail. It's about 16 miles and it's one of our favorite things to do. And it's 1st of November. It's a little bit warmer than normal. We've done this in November where it's about 17, 18 degrees. This morning it's in the high 30s, low 40s. That's going to be a beautiful day. We are at the top of the South Kaibab Trailhead and we are starting our way down the Grand Canyon. So we're going to head down Kaibab and make it down into Phantom Ranch and then up Bright Angel Trail. And it's going to be an epic day. It's a beautiful day. Up on the rim, and look at that. So if you're in Arizona or Tucson specifically, it's where we're at. Getting to the Grand Canyon is worth making the trek. And from Tucson to the Grand Canyon, it's about a 6-hour drive. You go up through Flagstaff, Williams, and then down to the Grand Canyon. But one of the mistakes that we made when we first started doing it is we didn't have any reservations at the top of the canyon. You can stay either in the canyon or right outside the canyon. There's a little town called Tucson, and there's a handful of hotels there. But the big mistake that we made is we didn't have a reservation, and regardless of the time of the year, the hotels book up. So you want to make sure that you get a reservation if you're coming to the canyon. And then there's a couple restaurants. Our favorite restaurant, there's a Mexican restaurant right in the little town before you enter into the Grand Canyon. And to get into the Grand Canyon, there is a fee. We've got an annual pass in Tucson that gets us into Sabino Canyon, Saguaro National Park, and all the parks. So if you're in Tucson and you spend a lot of time in Sabino Canyon or Saguaro National Park, that pass will work to get you in. But it's a super simple drive and totally worth doing. About 15 years ago, my wife asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I said I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon and do rim to rim. And ever since then, it's been our annual trek. We've done it all sorts of times of the year. We've done it in 1st of January when it was -4 when we started out. And a lot of times we just do the day trip where we go down South Kaibab up Bright Angel. But we've also started to pack in where we get reservations. And if you're going to do a pack trip, you've got to get reservations to stay at the various camping sites, whether it's Phantom Ranch, Indian Gardens, Cottonwood. There's a handful of places you can stay. But you know, if you've come to the Grand Canyon, it's one thing to come to the Grand Canyon and look down into the canyon. It's a totally different experience. Epic experience that words just can't put into explaining what it's like to be at the bottom of the Grand Canyon and in the canyon. So it requires some fitness, but that's another nice thing. It motivates us each and every year to be fit enough to get down in here and do it, especially on the downhill. You really need your downhill legs, and that's a mistake a lot of people make is they run or they hike, but they just don't do enough downhill. And so right out of the gate when you're starting down into the canyon, it's pretty steep and it'll tear your legs up really fast if you're not used to the downhill. But again, it's totally worth it. And once you get down here, we're at the bottom. We just came down Kaibab and we're at the bottom in the Grand Canyon, just passing over the bridge. Phantom Ranch is right over there. And then there's another bridge that you go over to go up Bright Angel Trail. So that's where we're at. The total trek, it's about 16 miles. And, you know, depending on our fitness level, you know, we've run it and done it in under 5 hours. I think 4:45 has been our fastest time. If we're hiking and just enjoying ourselves, between 5, 6, 6.5 hours. So it varies depending on your fitness level, but again, it's totally worth it. So maybe if you were to say your favorite thing about Grand Canyon and when we do rim to rim, Kaibab to Bright Angel, how would you explain it?
It's just magical. There's no other place like it. It's just the best majestic place I've ever been.
Something to consider is if you don't feel as though you're capable to hike down into the canyon, you can always book a trip down on the mules and stay at Phantom Ranch, and they've got cabins down there, and it's really, really cool and another way to experience the canyon. And they serve you dinner at night, and you can pick between a steak dinner, or they've got some really good vegetarian chili. And if you're hiking down and camping out at Phantom Ranch, you can reserve a meal as well. And we've done that too, where it kind of breaks up, where we don't have to cook one night, and we've got a nice hot meal, which breaks it up. So again, if hiking down is not something that you're capable of doing, I would highly recommend booking a trip down on the mules. Time to get out the trekking poles. We're about 10 miles into it. We're heading up Bright Angel Trail through the Box Canyon, working our way up to Indian Gardens. But I would highly recommend trekking poles. They're very useful for the uphill, but also for the downhill. They can really save your legs going downhill. And also, if it's in the colder months when there's snow up on the rim, whether you're going down or up, it really helps with your footing and helps you keep balance. So something to consider is trekking poles. And lastly, it's a good thing to train with them before you get here, because it's almost like cross-country skiing. You got to get kind of used to them. There's a little bit of timing, and it's also a really good workout because you're getting some upper body. We made it to Indian Gardens, and Indian Gardens is right at 12 miles. So we've got about 4 miles to go, and this is where it gets tough. And I'm always amazed because we're going up into that little V right there, and I'm always amazed at how we go from here to there. But it's 4 miles, it gets really steep, and this is another good place to pull out your trekking poles. But what I want to talk about in this section is things to consider. And a lot of the things to consider will depend on the time of year as far as the temperature. So we've done it all times. We've done it in the extreme cold, where we started out and it was -4 on top, and camped out at the bottom of Phantom Ranch. We've done it in the summer when it's 110 and super hot. So a lot of the things to consider are all built around the time of the year and the temperature. But in the winter months, you want to make sure you've got layers. When it's really cold, we've got our puffy, we've got our bigger pack, so we can take stuff off. But it's all about layers, taking those layers off. And then also, one of the other things in the wintertime, you want to check the forecast, but a lot of times there'll be snow up on the rim, and you want clamp-ons. And clamp-ons are really helpful, especially going down, that you're not going to slip, or even going up, because what happens is during the day, the snow melts, and then at night it freezes, so you get this black ice that you can't see. So clamp-ons in the wintertime, definite must. I already talked about trekking poles. There's places to get water, so you want to have a sufficient pack, again, depending on the time of the year and how many layers you're going to be taking off will have a big part of how big your pack is, and also how much hydration you're bringing. But pack is important for taking layers on and off. And then hydration, there is a place to get water at Phantom Ranch. You can get water, and then also at Indian Gardens there's a place to get water, and then also probably halfway up from Indian Gardens to the top of the south rim on Bright Angel, there's also a water spigot, and there's also places to go to the bathroom along the way as well. A couple other things to consider. In the summer, it's all about sun protection, sunscreen. I like to wear the long sleeve sun protective layers on my arms. I'll wear a hat that protects my face and skin. So sunscreen, definitely. Lots of hydration and water. Summer months going to be a little bit different. You want to get an early start to avoid the heat. I wouldn't recommend doing it in the dead of the day. The other cool thing, and something to consider, we've done this a couple times, is doing it when there's a full moon. And we've left the top of the rim at just when it's getting dark out. We'll go to the bottom and do it during a full moon. So, getting a headlamp and lights and things like that but it's another really cool experience to do it during a full moon. So those are just some things to consider. Another thing to consider, and this is something that I discovered it actually on this trip. The majority of times when we've done this, we've always done it during the weekday, and we've never done it on the weekend. And today's a Sunday, and there is a ton more traffic today. In the past, when we've done it in the colder times of the year, there's not a whole lot of people, and then we do it during the weekday, and it's a whole lot quieter, a lot less traffic. So if you've got time, if you can do it during a weekday, I would highly recommend that. It'll just be a whole lot less traffic. So those are things to consider. I'm going to have in the links below some of our favorite things that you can click on, whether it's trekking poles, lights, packs, things like that. Various things that we would recommend when doing Grand Canyon in a day, what we call rim to rim, staying on the south side, going down Kaibab and up Bright Angel, 16 miles, rim to rim in a day. These are all things to consider. Meme, what would be your one recommendation?
Probably to get the right shoes. And the shoes that I highly recommend are the Hoka's, what are they called?
They're the Stinson ATRs. They're an awesome shoe. They're an off-trail shoe. You can run in them, you can hike in them, but they're just a great all-around shoe. They've got a lot of cushion and support, so we're both big Hoka fans.
And they now have Hoka's come out with a hiking boot too as well.
Hoka, yep, hiking boot, but take a look at the Stinson ATR Hoka's. Why the Grand Canyon never gets old. As many times as we've done it, it just never gets old, and there's a reason that it's one of the wonders of the world. God did good when he did the Grand Canyon, but there's so many different reasons. There's never a bad view. It's just majestic. And when you come down into the canyon, none of your electronics are going to work. You're not going to have cell coverage, so put it on airplane mode, no social media, and just enjoy. You might want to, if you're going to do a lot of video and photos, you might want to bring a little backup USB charger for your phone. It's the best natural high you don't have to pay for, other than paying to get into the park, and you're on a high when you're in here, and I'm on a high for a good week coming out, so it never gets old. The other cool thing is living in Tucson. It's one of the big benefits for us of living in Tucson in Arizona, that it's an easy drive to get to the Grand Canyon, 6 hours for us. So that's why we every year make it an annual trip, and sometimes multiple times within a year. But it's just a great way to unplug, get away, put things back into perspective. And we like doing it towards the end of the year because it's a great time to do some goal setting and just kind of think about your upcoming year and putting some new goals into place, because it allows you to think, because you don't have the distractions of TV and internet and all those kind of things. So anyway, that's it. There's a ton more. I could go on and on. It's just, it's beautiful. But there's so many different things. Just depends on your perspective, but the only way to experience it is to get down in here and do it. So it's worth preparing. The other reason I like it, forgot about this one, is it motivates us during this time of the year, between like November to December during the holidays. It's a great way to stay motivated, keep your exercise routine on, eat properly, all those kind of things that can be a distraction during the holidays. So that's why I like to plan it this time of year. Especially we do it a lot for our anniversary, which is right at New Year's, which is another great time, even though it's cold. It's a great time. So that's my take. We are back to the car, and the nice thing about when you get to the top of Bright Angel Trail and you're parked at Backcountry, you can actually just walk right back to your car. It's about a quarter of a mile, beats taking the tram. So anyway, that is it. Took us little bit longer today because we filmed the video about 5.5 hours, a little over 16 miles. And it was a great day. The weather couldn't have been any better. But if you like this video, go ahead, do me a huge favor, give me an internet high five by liking it. And for more awesome videos about living in Tucson, your Tucson Real Estate Connection, you can go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments about Grand Canyon, Rim to Rim, Kaibab, Bright Angel Trail, go ahead and comment below. I'd love to answer any questions. And there's also going to be a map below, Strava map, so you can get an idea of the profile and also the mileage. So anyway, make it a great day. That was awesome, and can't wait to do it again.